Awesome. Good morning, you guys. Hi, I'm Jess Hartley, and for the last 20 years, I've had the good fortune to be a author, editor, and game developer in the tabletop role-playing game. I'm really excited about introducing you guys to Changeling the Lost this morning. It's one of my absolute favorite games that I've gotten a chance to work on. I am a huge fairy tale and folklore fan. I also think it's a really interesting game to use as a part of the Geek Therapeutics program because it does some stuff that D&D and the D&D analogs do differently. And I think it's wonderful to have a variety of tools in your toolbox. Specifically, one of the things I love the most about Lost and how it differs from D&D is in D&D and many of those analogs, you define your characters by race and class. So you're basically looking at what they were born as and what they learned how to do. And that's unfortunately a real similar analog to how we tend to look at people in this world. We tend to define them by where they came from and what they know how to do or what education they had. Changeling is different in that instead of race and class, our kind of axes for character definition are seemings and kiths and courts. And your seeming and kith isn't what you were born as, it's what the things you endured, what impact they had on you, what they changed you, how they influenced you. So you've got beasts who were used as feral animals or encouraged into animalistic behavior, and that colors how they go forward. And then the other axis is courts, which is how you see the world after your trauma and what you've chosen, how you've chosen to go forward to avoid that trauma in the future. So you've got courts like Summer for those who the trauma affected them in a very angry fashion, and they very much go out with a "you're not going to hurt me again. I'm going to hurt you first if I need to." Or you've got Winter, which says, you know what? If you can't see me, you can't hurt me. If I'm not noticed, those things can't happen to me again. And I think that especially when we're dealing with mental health and helping through therapeutic practices, that looking at people in that way is really unique. And there are definitely situations where it can be a really useful tool for helping people go on and look at how they experienced tragedy and how it affected them and how they can change those behaviors in the future, because your courts are things that you can change. You may have always been touched by the trauma that happened to you, but what you do about it can differ. So that's one of the reasons why I'm really excited about bringing Lost to you. As we talked about a little bit in the session 0, you guys are all playing characters who are members of a freehold, which is a citywide population of changelings. So freeholds tend to grow up around areas where many changelings have escaped from the hedge and have just kind of settled back into that area. Your particular freehold is called the Freehold of Fire River because there is a river that runs directly east-west through the center of your town, and at dusk and dawn, the sun setting and rising reflects on the river and makes it look like it's aflame. In the past, your motley, which is a group of changelings who've chosen to work together in a family unit, business, gang, pretty much any sort of arrangement can be a motley. So your motley has already done some amazing things in the past. You have endeared yourself to the local spring queen by clearing an area that had been formerly corrupted and allowing her to put together a goblin fruit orchard in that area. You have rescued a locket that allowed a mermaid to walk for a few hours a day. And most recently, you recovered a Hera pear, which is a very, very rare goblin fruit that same mermaid used to save her daughter's life. So you've done some really cool things in the past, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do this time. This morning, you have all received a summon from the Summer Queen. Her name is Lenora, and she is a very leonine beast hunter heart. She's very, very into conflict and resolving conflict through martial means if intimidation doesn't work. And she has called you all before her. She keeps a very small gathering place. It's not where she lives, but as many changelings, she likes to keep her private things private. But this is where she calls people together when she is currently reigning, so that she can handle her courtly business. The location is a small apartment in the downtown area. You guys have a motley house that is basically kind of a small rundown place that you guys use for the same thing. Some of you guys live there full time. Some of you just go there to hang out with your motley because you don't really want anybody knowing where you really live. So the missive comes to your motley house and says, very specifically, members of your motley are requested, and you kind of get the feeling there's a demanded, like underwritten in the tone, to exactly requested, to appear before Lenora, Queen of Summer. And it goes on with like 17 different titles about, the adroit, the ogre slayer, the giant killer, master of martial arts, and this kind of thing. And the address is underneath it, and it's about it's maybe a 15-20 minute walk from where you guys are. There's also Ubers in the city. You can, should you choose, you can use the hedge as a direct route there. You do know, however, that going into the hedge as a shortcut to get to some place that's that close is generally more dangerous than it's worth if you have a direct route to get there. If you're trying to get from San Francisco to New York City, you can find a route through the hedge that can get you there, within a few hours walking. So it's great for shortcuts for long journeys, but on short journeys, unless you're going to someplace that is in the hedge, it's generally safer to transport yourself through mundane means. So, how would you like to respond to this summons?
I say we should walk there.
Sounds good.
Did anyone disagree? Okay, so being led by Ash, who is making a statement about their transportation method, you guys head out from your Motley house. You walk through the local city park that is between the two of you. You guys know that there's some gateways into the hedge that are located at the city park and fairly well trod between the park and the local goblin market that's in the hedge. There's a pretty straight route there. And you go past that and head to the what looks like a very nice brownstone walk up. Um, the the apartment number is on the missive that you got, and there's a buzzer outside the door with doorbells for each of the apartment units. So you hit the right doorbell, and it's listed as Leora Summer, which is or Leora Summers, which is kind of funny, but when you hit it, there's a masculine voice that answers the buzzer. It's like, what do you want?
We're responding to a summons.
A summons. Okay. Who are you?
I'm Gray.
Are you by yourself?
No. You just asked who I was.
I see. It's going to be one of those kind of days.
Sorry, I'm too used to the Fae.
Okay, you're part of the motley that Lenora called, right?
Yes.
Got it. And come on up. There's a buzzing sound as the door unlocks.
After I stopped with the intercom as we're kind of walking in, I'm like, see, wasn't so hard to talk normal, was it?
So the apartment number is on the top floor. It's on the 4th floor. There is no elevator in this building, unfortunately. It looks like it was probably built back in the 50s. Got very narrow staircases and a lot of staircases. Not a whole lot of windows on the opening way up. But eventually you make your way up, getting no more than the occasional kind of strange glance by the neighbors who may be going down at the same time. You guys would know that while they certainly can't see you as you are, um, there's usually enough of your mien kind of peeking out. Like if you were a tree, in your mien, your mask may still look like they have bark colored skin. Their skin may be rough and uh, look like it's got like eczema or something like that as a analog to your mane. If you have feathers in your mane, you may have feathers in your hair that looks like you're wearing some accessories or things like that. If you're really big and strong like Rip, where I mean Rip has to literally like lower his head to fit in and kind of turn sideways to fit in through these 1950s style doorways in the hallway. They're not going to see someone who's 8 foot tall and 4 foot across at the shoulder, but they are going to see somebody that they thought probably played college football. So the looks that you're getting as you get through are nothing unusual, but you are getting some of those looks as you go up. The door itself is very plain. It's got the door number on the front. As you get up there and get ready to knock, the door swings open before you can actually make impact with it. And there is a man there. He's about 5.5 feet tall, so he's kind of shortish. His skin looks like gold, metal. He looks like a walking, talking gold statue. And you've seen him before. He's one of Lenora's courtiers within the summer court. And he looks you up and down, kind of sneers because he's never impressed by anyone that's not summer court, and steps back to let you into the waiting room, which would be the front room of the apartment. You can wait here. She'll be with you in a minute. In a few minutes, someone, a kind of some salamander looking beast, comes out, still speaking back into the room that they left, and they're just fawning all over themselves. Thank you so much, Your Majesty. I'm so grateful for your assistance, Your Majesty. You have my undying loyalty, Your Majesty. And he kind of backs out of the room so he's not turning his back on whoever is still in there, and just kind of jumps when he sees all of you. And oh, all right, and oh, hi. I should go. Yeah. Bye. And he makes a very quick departure. And a minute or two later, you hear a purr of a voice, low, very definitely feminine, but just kind of a halfway between a purr and a growl, saying, "All right, you can come in now." From the what would be like the bedroom from in the apartment.
I'm gonna flit in behind everyone else and kind of try to find like a corner or some kind of like a place to kind of perch while just standing still?
Oh, sure, sure. There is in the far right hand corner as you're entering the room. So you come in you come into what would be a bedroom. There is a desk where like kind of a bed would be in the center of the room. Sitting on the other side of it is Queen Lenora, who is a very, like I said, very lion-like beast woman. Um, she's dressed in very battle-worn leathers. There are weapons hanging on the wall in various and sundry places, but along the right-hand side, kind of back against this wall, there's a row of just wooden chairs. They don't look very comfortable. They're kind of like the kind that would go around a dining room table or something, no padding or that kind of thing. But they're lovely for your purpose because there'd be absolutely no harm whatsoever in you hopping up on one of them. You're not going to get the cushions dirty with your feet or anything like that because they're all just polished wood. For the rest of you, it's a very, I don't know, it's a very stereotypical apartment bedroom turned into an office. She's got a computer, she's got some filing cabinets. All of the decorations are done very much in like battle masks and shields and weaponry from different cultures and that kind of thing. She's got a bookshelf full of books. You can see Sun Tzu, The Art of War, and Machiavelli the Prince, and all kinds of different political history books on different war campaigns and that kind of thing. And she's looking down at paperwork when you all come in. She basically kind of lets you all get settled in whatever arrangement you would like to be before she looks up. Does anyone have something in particular that like Sky did that they want to arrange themselves in?
Ash wants to go browse the books while he's waiting.
Okay, yeah, she's got it's not definitely not a library, but there is a good solid, probably 3 foot wide floor to ceiling IKEA bookcase kind of thing. It's got some old stuff that looks like it's probably historical on everything from the War of 1812. It's got the history of Sparta, all kinds of different topics, but there definitely is a theme of tactics, battles, weapons, armor, that kind of thing running through the vast majority of the books that are there.
Dejectedly, Ash will join the group again.
This is boring. So Lenora looks up at you all and says, thank you very much for attending. I have a problem, and you have proven surprisingly useful in the last 6 months or so. I As much as I hate to rely on those who are outside of my particular court, this seems like a situation where perhaps investigation could be more useful than direct attack. One of my courtiers, a young man by the name of Algernon, has gone missing. He was running an errand for me and outside of the Goblin Court, and went missing. um, Unfortunately, I sent out some preliminary scouts, and they were able to recover his hat. It's not in good condition. And she kind of pushes over a very like trilby / fedora type hat in a black and white houndstooth check, really tacky looking, and it has been shredded. She has it arranged on her desk so it still kind of holds its shape, but when she lifts it up it just kind of unfurls in it's obviously got what appears to be blood stains on it. And she kind of looks at it and puts it down. Unfortunately, this is all my initial investigators were able to find, but something out there is obviously preying on my people, and I cannot allow that to continue. So I would like very much for you to go and investigate this and discover what killed Algernon and do something about it if it's within your power. If it's too powerful for you, of course, gather information, bring it back. My people will handle it. But they were not able to make the tracking necessary to discover what exactly it was. Is this a task that you're willing to take on?
Can I intercept? I think while she's presenting the pieces,
Mhm.
I think would instinctively step forth and take a piece and just smell it together.
Okay. Yeah. So Rip takes it. There's just a little piece has fallen off back onto the desk, so he doesn't even have to wait for her to put it down. He picks it up and smells it. So what I'm going to have you do, first roll of the day. We're going to have you roll. Let's see. How about wits plus investigation? So the number for your wits plus the number for your investigation will be your dice pool. Let me know if there are other attributes that you think are appropriate to add in bonus dice.
I think I don't have to. And now with the cyclope and ability, all of the 8s, 9s, and 10s exploded.
Oh, delightful. Yes.
Yeah, this is what I was going for. This is going to be a heavy roll because I have to re-roll 4 dice. And they don't explode again, right?
No, they. If you get 8, 9, or 10 again, they'll just keep exploding.
Okay, because this is weird, and then all of the successful rolls ever always explode for this kind of a roll for this character.
Specifically, if they are wits-based perception rolls, then yes, all of his successes will roll. That's very much what Cyclopeans are encouraged to do. They are the fee fi fo fum. I smell the hat of a rat.
Okay, because I'm already running at 13. Okay, 30 is where it stopped.
That's completely fair. You now know the life history of the person that was wearing this hat. They were born a small black rat. No, it's very definitely rodentia smell. You can very definitely tell that whatever wore this was did not pay a huge amount of attention to hygiene. It smells like hair pomade, like the kind you'd put in to like keep everything cool. There is very definitely some sort of oil smell to it, like lubricant, like motor oil. There's very definitely the smell of blood, and there's 2 different smells of blood. You're like,
so I can assume an altercation of some physical sort.
Definitely some sort of an altercation. There's the smell of very definitely hedge soil.
Okay,
where this hat, probably where the hat had been picked up, where it fell and was later recovered. Is there anything else in particular that you're hoping to get information on that your role may have provided for you, even if it's not normally something you can pick up with smell-based stuff? You did supernaturally well, so
yeah. When I first read this rule, this talent, then I was like, how broken.
Yes.
But okay.
Very, and like a lot of things in Changeling, things which are a very small niche, like the very, very, like, I do this one thing, quite often they'll allow you to specialize really, really well in that based on your seeming or your kith or your court. But in general, like the broader skills. Like this one's great for tracking things down and gathering information. It's not going to do you any good on what to do with that information. So, but yeah, it is. It's very very strong skill. You
Okay.
also get
But
the scent of a feline scent, but it's not like house cat or alley cat or that kind of thing. It's something big cat smell, and by following
lion.
more like tiger.
Okay.
Tiger. It's in fact you find one hair kind of woven into the fabric from the fight, and you pull it out, and it's a very
Yeah.
definitely got kind of the multi colored striping along that particular hair, unlike a lion which might have just all tawny colored. And there's very definitely metal smell, like maybe somebody was using a
Produced.
sword
Okay.
or that kind of thing. Very definitely that.
What about? I think if there would be some supernatural connotations to this, I think if I would like to understand anything, and which is also tied to the kind of the background of the character, maybe to understand the what's the word in English? The one who was killed, maybe his fear, or what?
Yeah,
What
definitely.
was
This thing is
fear when he was killed?
this thing is drenched in fear hormones, sweat,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. There's definitely some underlying smells of what might be illicit drugs.
Okay.
Uh, that kind of like ammonia smell that some of the street drugs have.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, like, was it like an abstract fear, or was it like a fear of somebody he would know?
oh,
Or
okay. Well, it's
was
kind
he
of
chased,
hard to
attacked?
tell because
Okay.
there is old fear hormones and
Okay.
there's like the new fear hormones. The new fear hormones definitely are tinged with sweat and the blood and that kind of thing. But
Okay.
there's also like layer upon layer upon layer of as far back as you can, like as you're walking the history
Okay.
of the hat. This You kind of get the feeling that this individual probably lived in fear a lot, or was encountering things it was scared of quite a bit. Does that help?
Okay. Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool,
Definitely.
cool, cool. Okay, does anybody else want to do anything while Rip is investigating this little snippet?
I think I'll keep the tiger hair.
Oh yeah, definitely. She hasn't even noticed that you picked this up and are smelling, the little piece of fabric and are smelling it. She's talking, during. I figured you're probably doing this while she's talking to the rest of the group about this because it's a little bit less obvious that way. How about, let's see, Gray, Ash, or Sky? Is there anything that you guys, any questions you want to ask, or other things you want to look at in the office, or?
I think Sky kind of wants to like get up, like not get up, but kind of like sit up a little higher and kind of fluff herself a little, and be like, "Well, I'm curious, ma'am. Mm, what what were you having him do? What was the errand that you were having him do?"
Oh, he was carrying information from the Goblin Market to one of my associates in one of the next towns. I assume that's why he used the hedge. It's much faster for him to get there. Um, did that answer your question? He quite often acted as a courier for me. He's very good at getting in and out of tight situations.
Well, then, if he was often used as your courier, then logic would state that, well, people would know that you trust him with very important information. So, was this information something that one of your enemies would potentially want?
I don't think so. We were carrying He was carrying correspondence inviting the Freehold of Crystal Gaze to an upcoming summer tournament that we're having. So it wasn't a particularly clandestine job, as it were. Algernon is very fast and very good at getting into and out of tight situations, but he was not entirely well, for a summer courtier, he was quite honestly a little bit on the wimpy side. I didn't expect anything different from him. I mean, we all know that if you corner a rat, they will fight ferociously, but he didn't like to be cornered.
Do you have any specific names or thoughts of who might do this that just come to your head, whether they make sense or not?
Not at all. Not at all. I've only been on the throne for a few weeks now. As you know, the reign changes with every season, and a representative from each court steps up to take the throne for that season. So I've only been reigning this time for a few weeks. Everything seems to be going fairly well. There was a little incident a few weeks ago that you stepped in and helped, where some individuals were trying to alter the effects of one of our tournaments, and that's created a little bit of scandal, but certainly nothing that anyone would kill anyone over. I mean, not even my feisty people. No, I really honestly believe that just something happened to him. I mean, the hedge is a very dangerous place. There's briar wolves and hobs of all sorts and huntsman spiders and all kinds of things. I mean, eventually even the most careful courier will run into a situation that's a bit too dangerous for their skill set. And unfortunately,
I think that's the moment where Rip would present the tiger hair and ask, what about tigers?
Tigers? I don't
Show
know.
the dangling hair.
She takes it and kind of looks at it. I mean, you're right. This does look like tiger, but I don't know of any tiger beasts in this freehold or any of the surrounding freeholds.
Well, you wanted us to investigate this because you were afraid of someone hunting your people. But if you think this is just an accident of the hedge, I don't understand.
If there's something, even if it's a hedge predator that is attacking the main trods between our freehold and the next nearest freeholds, we need to know that so that we can deal with that. There are so many changelings, so many lost that travel back and forth using these trods. If we don't keep them safe, our people will start opening new trods and forging their way through unfamiliar areas in the hedge, and that's just going to bring about a great deal of unnecessary casualties. And while I'm normally very much a stupid gets what stupid gets, I can't help but feel that as monarch, I should be at least doing the nominal investigation into if there is something here before it takes another member of our freehold.
So you want us to deal with potentially a single predator if you don't think that there's a conspiracy of any kind, correct?
Not to the best of my knowledge, but if evidence of that starts to emerge, I would very much be interested in that as well.
Okay.
At this point, I'm looking at this as probably a chance happening, but if it's not, we definitely need to know about it so that we can put the appropriate levels of attention upon it.
Okay, I'm down to help.
Well, delightful. And as for the rest of you, and she looks at Gray and looks at Ash.
Can you point us in the direction of some of the paths in and out of the hedge that Algernon commonly used? We can kind of have some ideas of where to start.
Of course. The clearest path in the local area to the Goblin Market, there's a trod running right from the gate at Central Park to the Goblin Market. I'm certain you know about that one. You've probably
yes.
used it before. Quite often, Algernon used that one because it was very conveniently located here to the Greystone. Then from there, I believe to get to Crystal Gap, I believe that he used the most common trod there. I mean, there's really only one major trod that goes from the Goblin Market to Crystal Gap. It's so I believe. I mean, that's the one that his hat was found on. So I assume that that's where the problem was. Was that what you were asking, or were you asking for other routes other than the one he was on when he was killed?
I think that's a good place for us to start. Although it does occur to me, if these are some extremely commonly trods, did anyone see anything? Has anyone had reports, or have there been other similar attacks?
Not to the best of my knowledge. This is the first time that any of my courtiers have gone missing, and I haven't heard any rumors bandied about. Certainly, it's one of the reasons why I came to you directly, because if news gets out that there's a major danger on one of the trods between the Goblin Market and the next Freehold over, if nothing else, people are going to go poking around there, and they're going to mess up whatever evidence is there. That's why I've called you
That makes sense.
as quickly as possible.
Do you have a sense of what time of day or night this might have happened?
Algernon almost always traveled at night. And we're fairly certain. I saw him yesterday, and his hat was found this morning. So I'm fairly certain it was last evening sometime.
Okay, thank you.
Of course, of course. The least I can do. Is there any other information that I can give you before you set out? Do you have any need of resources or materials of any kind for your investigations?
I had one last thing, which is, I mean,
I'm
well,
so not surprised. Please go on.
we have all come up with the Fae. So, what will we get out of this?
Oh, of course, of course. Well, for endeavoring to go on this and investigate, I would be willing to owe your motley a minor favor. If you are able to gather any useful information about this, I would be happy to increase that to a minor favor apiece, or a major favor for your motley as a whole. One. If you are able to deal with this situation, whatever it is, so that I don't have to burn other resources in order to do that, I would be willing to escalate that minor favor each to a major favor for each of the four of you. And of course, I would be willing to swear a pledge upon that agreement, as is common for our people, to ensure that everyone keeps their word. Does that seem satisfactory?
It is to me. I don't know about my comrades.
And she looks at each of you in common.
I'll follow everybody. I'll follow those of you guys.
She looks at the wood-blooded, and she says, "Well, of course you will, dear. You're Winter. That's what you do." So, if there's nothing else that you need,
I have an out of game question.
please.
How obvious are is the use of contracts?
How what is the use of contracts?
How obvious? Like how?
It depends upon the contract.
Like if there is.
So if you have a contract that
I have this witch's intuition.
Oh, okay, yes, that one you can 100% use. It's just it's just an observational, investigatory kind of thing. So you could use that one without without. There are people who have contracts that are abilities to sense when someone is using a contract on them, but that's pretty advanced and pretty specific. In general, without those special abilities, in general, using a contract like this would not be obvious at all. You just look like you were giving her a good look up and down.
Okay. Yeah, I think
like
I
to
would
do that?
use the witch's intuition on the Summer Queen.
Okay, fantastic. So you're going to roll your wits plus your weird back of your character sheet, and then versus her composure.
It's 3 successes.
I got 1, but it's a 10, and that's another 10, and then 5. So I only got 2. So you succeed. Well, one of the things I wanted to touch on, because we haven't mentioned it, when you're looking at your contracts, it's pretty self-explanatory, with the exception of catch. Catch is something that usually confuses people a little bit. And what a catch is, it's an alternate fueling method. So if you have fulfilled the catch or can fulfill the catch, then you don't have to pay the glamour to activate your contract. So in this case, if you didn't know the character's name, you wouldn't have to pay the glamour to activate the contract on them. But in this case, you do know her name. So,
yeah. But which way is it? It's like I am the subject, and the character is somebody else.
Yes, you are the.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Actually, that is. Do you know I've been playing this game for years now, and I never noticed that. You are right that if we look at that very specifically, it is very much the person you are doing it onto does not know your name, not the other way around. And I had interpreted that the other way around for years now. So thank you for pointing that out. You are right. That rule is, does she know your name, not do you know her name? And in this case, unless you've been intentionally hiding your name from her.
I think she does, definitely.
Yeah. So, but thank you for pointing that out. I mean, that really proves that, new eyes on a situation could really bring out things that assumptions and tribal knowledge had been made, had been doing incorrectly for years. So thank you very much for that. So did you get successes? How many successes did you get?
I got 3.
3. Okay, that's 1 more than she had. That's all you need. So you're going to acquire knowledge of one of the subject's fears. One of the fears she has, that's always right at the top of her consciousness, is being thought of as less than how she sees herself. So not being thought of as cowardly, being thought of as ineffective, being thought of as a bad ruler or a bad member of the summer court or a bad fighter, bad leader, that kind of thing. Just big paranoia about that. Let's see. Does anyone else have anything else that they want to do before you set off on your adventure?
My character, I have something I want her to do as like a basis for how we start looking.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
But I want to make sure everybody else is done. I just didn't want to interrupt a cutscene or something later, so I wanted to throw that out there. So
I think this is a great time for that.
Okay. So because my character was kind of like a messenger for a very long time and kind of had the same job as Algernon did, just slightly different, I want to know where he left, and see if I can get a literal bird's eye view of it. So if it was like from the front door, we're on I think the second, or we're up in an apartment building. So if there's a way that I could survey the route he may have taken to the hedge from here, whether he took like a little rat hole or something else, and then kind of as stealthily as I can, but still, jump and kind of glide down that way to see if there's something I could see from up above.
Okay. So like I said, you're on the 4th story, top floor of a brownstone. The city park is just a couple of blocks away and extends to cover several city blocks worth of greenery. So looking out the window like right now, without even walking over to the window, you can see the green space beyond, where the park is. And there's a pretty clear cut, like literally the road goes right from here to the to the city park. So chances are he just walked on the sidewalk down to the city park to catch the to open up the gateway there to go into the hedge to get to the goblin market. You could, if you wanted to glide, you definitely could. Although you know that you, in the past, when you were very newly emerged from the hedge, you took great joy in gliding in city areas, and unfortunately, 911 was called several times because they worried that you were a jumper and that you were attempting to commit suicide, or that kind of thing. So in human environments, doing things which are not easily explainable by to human perceptions can draw you some extra attention. You definitely can do that. Like, you literally would have, if you went up onto the roof or went out the window here, you would have a very good, like, swooping to get the 3 or 4 blocks that it is down to the park. Chances are doing that will attract some attention. So I'm going to let you have that information before you make your decision about what exactly you want to do.
I'm curious if I can have like a thing that I've done in the past, because that has happened, where I always just kind of have like paragliding equipment on me. So if people ask, like I just have that, and it's like, oh, I was just paragliding. I was just doing this thing, and I'm not sure if that's a thing I could do or not.
I don't know anything about paragliding equipment, but I'm going to say that you could have at least had a cloak or something like that that to mundane eyes that didn't know about paragliding could easily be explained as paragliding equipment. Just in the same way that, like, an official looking backpack could be explained away as a parachute or something. If you're, it's probably not going to run by people that actually know about paragliding, but you know, to the mundane observer, you know, you've got a cloak that you can kind of hold out, and your mane gives it the impression of a paragliding rig. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, my only other thought was, if there's a lot of trees along the way, I could maybe disguise it as parkour, where I'm just jumping from one thing to another.
From tree to tree, tree top to tree top. I think that but yeah, definitely, sure. There's the stereotypical, you know, elm trees, you know, stick with the cotton ball of green up at the top of it, in front of the buildings and apartments lining the street to City Hall. So sure, you could definitely, you know, and that will also provide a little bit of visual break. So yeah, you could, I think you've got at the very least, you've got plausible arguments for what you're doing.
Okay, cool.
So did you want to go up to the roof of the brownstone then?
I think, I mean, the trees aren't going to be as tall as the brownstone. So, and we're on the 4th floor. So even that's going to be a bit of usually a jump. The trees aren't usually quite as tall
right.
as the 4th. So I think it's fine just to go out her window if she's cool with that.
Sure. She looks at you a little strangely, but she's like, if this will help your investigation, certainly.
Well, and I'm wondering if there's a way that Rip can help me, because I know he is good at perception. So if he can see something in terms of where a good flight path would be, in terms of like things that look suspicious from up here, since it did just seem to happen last night.
Sure. Is that something that you're willing to coordinate with her, Rip?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Okay,
Also,
fantastic.
I'd like to remark that I'll definitely take the tiger hair with me if we leave.
Definitely. She hands it back to you. Definitely. In fact, she offers you, before you leave, she offers you the hat too. She's like, would this help you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I figured it might help with the scent or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not my forte. So yeah, Rip looks out the window. Lenora clears off the windowsill so that she can open it for you. And she's watching so that if there is attention drawn or that kind of thing, she can send out her little companion to help clear things up on your flight. And Rip looks out. He can you know, very easily chart. It's only 3 4 blocks tops. Very easily chart a path to not draw a huge amount of attention. And, it's like 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning, so there's not a huge amount of people out and about anyway, compared to 5 on a Friday or something. So yeah, you're able to kind of chart your little path that'll take you right down to the parks blocks. Ash and Gray, what are you guys going to do at this point?
Do you want to walk together, Ash?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I'll follow you.
Rip, are you going to go with Ash and Gray, or are you going to jump out the window?
I think I'm going to follow them also. But,
okay. So
follow at the back.
Okay, so when after Sky goes out the window, Lenora closes it behind her and stands at the window to watch, just to make sure that the police don't show up or something like that, or if they do, that she can send out a explanation investigation person, and the rest of you, you make your walk down there. Your Sky, unfortunately, there's nothing really. I mean, it's sidewalks. He didn't really leave any sort of visible path behind him or that kind of thing. But you're able to get the idea that it probably, for somebody that's walking mundanely, it's maybe an 8-minute walk or so to the park. Not long at all. The path goes past an area that is predominantly like small shops and buildings, mostly 1 or 2 story buildings fill up the blocks in this area. Occasionally one is shuttered, but there's there's a couple coffee shops between here and there. There's a bicycle repair store. There's a thrift store. There's, just kind of general, like what you'd find around a downtown area of a not huge city. And then you get a great view of the city park. It's probably 4 to 6 square blocks of trees and some little picnic pavilions that you can, with little picnic tables that you can have little parties at, or that kind of thing. There is you get a really great view of the main gateway here, which to mundane eyes looks like 2 very tall stone pillars, and then about 10 feet up or so, there's a metal arch, like a sculptured decorative metal arch that covers them. It's set into some privet hedges, some just regular decorative hedges that don't really seem to do. I mean, it's not really a gateway to anywhere in the park area. It doesn't close anything off. It's just kind of a decoration. And that, like, right now you can see right through it, both sides. It looks completely normal, but you do know that if you were to press your hand upon the gate and spend a point of glamour and ask or demand for it to be open to you, it would open to a one-way passage to the hedge that you could pass through to get there. And from there, it's a fairly short trod walk to the closest goblin market.
Okay. I'm curious. So I forget, when did he leave last night, or did he leave yesterday?
She said that he does almost all of his work at night, and that he left. She saw him yesterday. If you ask her, she would explain it was yesterday late afternoon.
Okay.
And then the evidence was found this morning early by someone that was traveling from the Crystal Gap to the Goblin Market.
I'm curious if in the trees, as I'm kind of hopping from them, if there are any owls that are like sleeping, or any night birds that would be around that might have seen movement or anything that way.
Good question. Let me check. Whoop! I dropped my dice on the floor. This is what happens when you have a very nice little dice tray and you use it to hold your dice rather than roll your dice into. Yeah, you managed to find it's sure, we'll just say an owl because I can't think of any other night birds at this point. It's a little kind of like screech owl. It's asleep in a cove in one of the trees within the park itself. Not too far from the gate. So
can I do my tongues with birds and words with wolves?
Definitely. Let's pull that up. Let's take a look and see what your ability is on that. Whoops. That person. That's Raz. That's the person who's not here. That's Gray. That is the person who's here. Okay, good. No wonder I couldn't find Gray's character sheet. Okay, so Sky, you are going to. So would you like to fulfill the catch by giving the animal a new name?
Well, and I was kind of curious about that. Does that mean I just go up to this bird and just call him something, even if it's not his name?
Yep, exactly. You're like, hey, buddy, you just seem like you really know a lot, and I'd really love to talk with you.
Yeah. Sure. I will call him Gerald.
Gerald? Okay. Gerald. Gerald is a screech owl. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're going to roll your weird plus your animal kin.
Okay. I believe that's 3 die. Anything else?
Because you have a specialty in birds, you can add that in too. So that'd be 4. And then let's see, what about your seeming blessing? Yes, you get 8 again on this because it's using animal kin, right? No, wait. Yes, animal kin. Okay. Let's see. That's your seeming blessing.
That's anything 8, 9, and 10.
Yep.
I got 2 successes.
Okay, fantastic. So yeah, the Gerald kind of blinks. Hello.
Good morning, Gerald.
Hello. It's very bright.
I'm sorry to wake you. I'll kind of put my arms to kind of shield the sun from his eyes.
Oh, thank you.
I need your help if you're able.
Okay.
I'm tracking a little black rat changeling creature named Algeron. And he went by here last night on his way to the henge. So do you know anything? Did you see anything?
Rats are tasty.
They are. He would have been a bit big for you to eat, though. Pretty sure.
Oh, yes. Yes. The rat with the hats.
Yeah.
He skitters past my tree often. Yes.
I'm sure you remember him, because I'm sure he looks like a very, very tasty feast.
Yes. Yes.
Did you see anyone around him? Anyone following him? Did you see anything happen near here last night from the henge?
No. The rat, but no one with him. Alone. He's always alone.
And he was alone last night too?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else that you can think of that seemed strange last night? Even if it wasn't to do with the rat necessarily.
There was a fight between one of the street dogs and one of the local rats under my tree. It was very loud.
Did you get a whiff of anything like big cat that scared you at all last night, or made you want to avoid a certain part? Preferably a tiger kind of smell?
Tiger? No, just alley cats. They're tasty. I'm not scared of cats.
Ooh. you. All right, well, that's all I can think of. Thank you. I appreciate it, Gerald. Have a good nap.
Good night. Okay. So Gerald blinks and goes back to sleep, and you can see the gateway from here. There's nobody mundanely. There's a over around the corner, kind of in the far end, there's what looks like a family setting up for a children's birthday party or something. Luckily the gate itself has been set up in the park in such a way that it's not like there's nothing directly, like no benches or anything like that directly looking through the gates from either side. So you know that when you activate it, your chances are with the hedges and everything, you just look like you're going to be walking through the gate to anyone who's on either side. It's been pretty well thought out for a public gateway. But it will require that one of you open the gateway if you want to use this as the path into the hedge. Would someone like to handle that?
Sure.
Oliver. Sorry, I don't get to follow the chat very often because I'm concentrating on the main room. So if you say anything in the chat that I don't notice that is directed for me, please like point it out to me because I may not actually notice the chit chat that's going through. Okay, so Gray, you were going to open the gateway?
Sure.
Fantastic. Okay. It is not difficult to do whatsoever. You don't even need to make a roll. You just expend the point of glamour. And again, like we talked about before the session started, your pool is 10 for your glamour. You all started with 5. So keep track of that, because if you start running out, you won't be able to activate your contracts unless you harvest some more in some fashion or another. So, okay. So how do you want to narrate out how you open it, or do you want to just hand wave it, or it's totally up to you?
I have not put thought into that, so I will just like hand wave it.
Okay, so yes, so Gray puts his hand up on the stone, and in his quiet little voice, politely requests for this gate to get the hell out of their way so that they can go about what they've got to do. And there's kind of a shimmering in the gateway, and before where you could see, over to the other side, you see the lawn and that kind of thing. All of a sudden now, what you see through that hedge is a thicket of the thickest brambles you've ever seen in your life. It's like you're literally walking into the center of a huge blackberry bramble. The branches reach up over your head, making almost a tunnel of greenery, and there's a fairly small but well worn path. It's about wide enough for 2 people to walk through at a time because it gets used a lot. That leads off into the briars. Maybe 30-40 feet ahead of you, it takes a turn, so you can't see exactly where it goes from there, but you guys have all been on this before. You're going to go around that turn, you're going to go down a few minutes more, you're going to make another turn, and you're going to end up basically at the entryway to the local goblin markets. Does anyone have anything they want to do before progressing forward, or you want to just head into the goblin market and possibly through it and on towards the trod to the next freehold over?
Ash in the middle of the group wants to kind of blend in with the scenery, the trees and the foliage as much as she can.
Sure.
But also, while she's using her stealth, she wants to kind of check out around her to see if she can investigate or see any clues that might help our happy little gang find this missing, hopefully not dead rat that everybody thinks is dead.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Well, let's take a look at what Ash has the ability to do. So you can sense elements. You can talk to elements. Might be a good opportunity to talk to some of the local plants here. If you'd like to activate your primordial voice and do that, it will allow you to ask anything that occurred in this area in a day of the plants. It lasts around 5 minutes or so. So you can have a choice. You can do it here, or if you wanted to, you could hold off and do that for like closer to where the hat was actually found. It's really up to you.
Maybe when we get closer to where the hat is found. But for now, can I just try and investigate?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Okay, what I'm going to do, because it seems like this is probably a good place for everybody to kind of take a peek around, I'm going to have you guys do a perception check. And so that's going to be your wits plus your composure. Let me know if you have any particular skills or abilities that you think are particularly pertinent to that. Please check your blessings and curses to make sure that you don't have any modifiers that affect that, and go ahead and roll that many die, and when you're done, just signal how many successes you got by just holding your hand up and until we're done, until I've been able to tell you guys what you find. Okay?
And so you said wits and composure?
Wits plus composure, yep. And this is one of the few situations where you're going to be actually rolling 2 attributes. Most of the time it's like an attribute and a skill, or an attribute and a trait, or that kind of thing. But perception uses wits plus composure, both of which are attributes.
I also have 2 for investigation. Would that help?
Not in this particular situation, because for right now, what we're doing is just generally, what do I notice, as opposed to tracking down something in particular. But we can do that as a follow-up if you'd like. Okay, so Gray got 2. Sky, yeah.
Sorry, one of the things is I can add glamour to add dice to my roll. How many dice can I add?
It's a 1-for-1 basis, and at your level, you can only spend 1 point of glamour to do that per turn. So you basically can spend 1 glamour and add 1 die to your roll if you choose to.
Cool, let me do that.
I got 4 successes and 2 10s.
Okay, so well done. And you're going to roll your 10s again to the count as a success. So hold that success, but then also roll them again and see if you get another 10. Or if you get another success, that counts as a success. And if you get another 10, you explode again and get to roll again. So
no more successes.
Okay.
Got about that. Both of mine were 10s, so I'm going to roll for mine.
Yeah, roll away, my friendos.
And is it, what's the success? Is it 6 or higher, 7 or higher?
8, 9, or 10.
Okay.
On a 10-sided die.
Okay. Wonderful.
Okay.
I got 2 more explosions, so a total of 4.
Wow. Okay. Did 2 more successes or 2 more explosions?
All 10s.
Then roll the 10s again. You literally get to continue. Oh, okay. And you didn't get successes
until I ran
after
out
that?
of 10s. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, yeah. So every one of those counts as a success as you're going along. And if you got, like, if you rolled a 10 and you got an 8, that still counts as a success. It doesn't get to explode again, but it still count as an additional success. So, okay. So Ash got 4, Gray got 4, Sky got 1. Rip, did you get any?
The hero that I get is 0. So I think maybe my character is,
you used all your good luck earlier?
Yeah, maybe. I rolled 5 dice and none of them succeeded and none of them exploded.
Okay, that's
I think we're so distracted, focusing on the hair that that he's not paying attention to the surroundings.
That makes sense. That totally makes sense. Okay, so Ash and Gray, you are definitely able to find some footprints here. It looks like there have been some people through, you can see, a couple boot prints, a couple sneaker prints, but you also see kind of off to the side of the trail where you wouldn't walk unless you were trying to kind of be sneaky about it. You see some what looks like animal prints. If if a mouse had human-sized footprints, basically, barefooted, and there are definitely only one set of these that you can find going from the door, from the gateway towards the goblin market. You could definitely tell by the depth of them that the individual that made them was very slight build, very very light boned, probably bird or maybe rodentia, and very 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 light, don't leave very deep impressions, but they're definitely only going the one direction, not back. Is there anything else in particular that you were hoping to get an answer on?
I think we should follow these footprints, guys. I found these.
Good catch.
I think Rip would, and he's like really big, so he bows down and falls to his knees and takes a smell.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Very good,
Is it
very good.
the same rat?
Definitely smells like the same rat. There is not, however, as you're sniffing. Won't you give me a roll? We're gonna roll wits plus investigation, and your tracking definitely comes into play here. Um, so let me know, just so I can know how much detail. I'm sure you're going to get obscene levels of detail out of this, but I just
This
want to
is
give you the
crazy.
fun of rolling a 0 if you happen to roll a 0.
I think,
Rolling 8 dice is very.
well, he does that. I think Sky is just trilling with excitement about like clues being found and like throwing like, yay, Ash!
We did it! Look, we're doing it! We're doing it!
Yeah.
Okay, I got 8 this time.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. So a couple things. Yes, definitely the same rat. Definitely walking barefoot. He's definitely walked down the city streets before that. You can smell, the bubble gum and hot tar and that kind of thing that he would have gotten on his little rat paws that way. He's walking bipedally as opposed to on all fours. Most changelings you've met prefer to be bipedal, even the beasts, but there are exceptions. The definitely smells like the fear, at least the older fear. The notable thing is you don't smell the oil or the blood or the cat at all. Like those are the three things that you smelled on the hat that you don't get at all from the footsteps. And you even, because you did such a good job on the roll, you even like managed to find where he's brushed up against one of the branches, and you can like double check the smell there, so you get more of like, oh well, this smells a little bit like the sweat from his clothes, but again, no cat, no oil, no blood.
And these prints go which direction?
They go from where you guys are towards the goblin market, and you know that his hat was found on the path between the goblin market and the next town over. So like you're on the A step and he was found on the B step forward.
Okay, but right now we're in the hedge.
You've just barely stepped into the hedge. I assume
Okay,
before you spend a lot of time investigating, you will step into the hedge so that the gateway closes behind you. Otherwise,
Yeah,
you're leaving the tunnel open for all the mundanes.
Yeah, I think the 0 roll meant that Rip was kind of so absent-minded that he didn't even see when he stepped in the hedge.
Hey, what? I was checking my Twitter account. Okay.
Yeah, I think I would commend Ash on her findings because I would have thought that it would have been my department, but if anybody else did a good job, I would definitely commend.
Nice. Okay. So would you like to progress forward down the trod? or is anybody
Yep.
other investigations? Okay. So if you continue forward, it's maybe 5 minutes, and that's mostly because you make a couple of curves and have to go because the trods just don't necessarily go directly to where you want to go. And you'll find yourself at the gate of the Goblin Market. It's a small village-looking area. You would know that in the hedge, this it wants to redeem itself, like it wants to reclaim territories, and it's only through spending effort and glamour to basically continually push back the brambles that you're able to create these places called hollows, where you can do things like hold a goblin market. So it's like a clearing where the brambles have been pushed back and are continually kept pushed back by the people who travel there and the people who have their stalls there, exerting their effort over the hedge. And the hedge is or the goblin market is a combination. They've got some places that are just basically like little 10 by 10 stalls, kind of a medieval looking version of what you might find at a local farmer's market, with pop-ups and that kind of thing. There's a couple of there's a variety of buildings. So there's a couple of like teepees or wigwam looking things. There's some buildings that are permanent, like cobbled stone huts with thatched roofs, with little like shops out in front of them, where these are where hobs probably live full time on the market or at the market. There's even like on the far end of it, you think you see like a 1970s Volkswagen van. It's got the hood is open and upright, and there are racks of clothing hanging outside of it, kind of like a tailor shop or that kind of thing. And the hobs that you see here, some of them look like kind of just weird looking humans, but some of them are very, very different. You see a booth called We Go. It's got a big like handwritten sign, and the proprietor behind there is someone that you've worked with in the past. His name is We Go. He's about 4 foot tall. He's got 4 arms, and he's extremely enthusiastic about traveling through the hedge. You see a cart that's like a pony cart, with a whole bunch of bottles and brewing equipment and that kind of thing. And you've interacted with the owner of that, who is a Shih Tzu that is purple in color and about the size of a small horse. Her name is Clementine, and she's one of the best brewers of goblin fruit and goblin fruit products in the area. And then there's Melicine's cabin. She's one of the people who lives here full time. And her shelves are interesting because although she has shelves set up just like any other merchant's booth, there's nothing on them because she deals in information and secrets and things like that. And nobody's really sure why she has all the shelves, but she does. And then you can basically, the main street of this market, there's a couple places where there's like 2 buildings deep, but not much more than that. And the main street is about a block and a half long. And there's an arch at each end of it, that you pass through, and the trod basically goes right through the center of the goblin market and heads out towards the other side. And you know that if you walked maybe another half an hour or so leaving the goblin market, you would eventually find the freehold, a gateway to lead you out into the freehold of Crystal Gap. Sorry, I forgot what name I gave it. Crystal Gap. Even though you know that the town that Crystal Gap is located in is several hours drive away, by using these trods you can get to it in half an hour or so, once you've gotten to the goblin market. So what would you like to do from here?
Have we found the place where the hat was found?
Nope, that is beyond the goblin market, on the road out towards Crystal Gap.
So I don't know about you guys, but I think we should check out where the hat was found. What do you think?
Okay.
I'm all for that. I don't
Okay.
know I don't know if we should stop in and say hello to our mermaid friend, because maybe she could tell us if she'd seen him on occasion or if anything looked amiss without hopefully making us pay anything.
I think either of us would be fine.
Ash, you and I both know that the Goblin Market can get real pricey.
So what would you like to do? Are you going to go visit Melusine, or are you going to go to the location where the hat was found?
I think both are good ideas. I think my preference is to just go where the hat was found to see what we can find first. And then, depending on what we find, that might help inform the questions we ask of Melusine.
Maybe I can ask some of the leaves and the trees and the foliage what they know.
Sounds like a good idea. Okay. So,
I have an interruption.
Mhm.
Can we make a recap, like what we're discussing? Because I had to talk to somebody.
Oh, of course.
What are we-
So you guys have gotten to the Goblin Market and are currently discussing whether you're going to talk to someone in the Goblin Market there that you already have established contact with, or whether you're going to go ahead and head out of the Goblin Market onto the trod between here and the next Freehold, which is where the hat was originally found. So at this point, it's sounding like you guys are going to head out to where the hat is, and then once you've gathered some more information and talked to the animals or the plants or that kind of thing there, then if you have further questions, you can come back to the Goblin Market and ask for more information.
I'm definitely on board with that decision.
Okay, fantastic. Well, you guys head out of town. You know, folks wave and greet you as you go, but they're all doing their own morning setup to get all of their booths open and starting to cook their day's food if they do that kind of shop and that kind of thing. So you know they don't really interrupt you as you're passing through, and you can go out of the market, head along the trod towards Crystal Gap, and you're walking probably it's a half an hour to Crystal Gap. This is maybe about 10-15 minutes out on the trod, and you see this very large dead tree, which is one of the landmarks that the queen would have told you, like this is near where the hat was found. So you're like, okay, we're probably in at least roughly the right area. And the trod goes right underneath the dead tree branches and that kind of thing. So who would like to start off doing what kind of investigation here?
I would like. Go ahead, Brooke.
I think I would like to have a smell around and see the crime scene and what's left on maybe there's something.
Fantastic. Okay, why don't you go ahead and make your roll for that, because that's going to take you a bit.
Also, can we find similar tracks that were before the Goblin Market? That's something I'd like to track.
Looking for mouse tracks. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, let's start off with everybody doing a perception check, and then we'll start off after that. We'll let everybody do whatever specialized search they're going to do. Okay, so we're going to start off with a wits plus perception. Wits plus composure perception check. Can you just tell me how many successes you get on that? Ah, nice. 3. Good start. Good start. 2. Okay, good. At least nobody's.
And it's 8 and higher, right?
8, 9, and 10 are successes. Yep, and 10's
One success, not 2, just one. Just
okay.
one.
Well, you have found the path. Like you're absolutely certain this is the path to Crystal Gap, 100%.
I made the same mistake. Successes.
You have 2. Okay. What about you, Rip? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
I got 5. It's roll better.
Okay,
Well,
amazing.
it's it's the gift talent every it's a perception roll, right? Yeah. So if every success explodes, then
Yeah.
this is kind of expected.
And what about you, Ash? Did you get any successes?
I did not get any success.
None. Okay, so Ash is like, I don't know. There are no rat footprints in this tree whatsoever. Like, I have no idea.
I'm over there going, I think this is a path. Maybe.
Sky is like, Sky can definitely see that there are some of these footprints like coming up to the tree, like going up to the tree. You see kind of in the same way, because you're like, oh, I'm going to look in the same sort of place along the edge of the trod, where it seemed like Algernon liked to walk. So you definitely see them up to, like, going up to the tree, but there is a certain point there where they where there is a big kerfluffle of um, footprints, paw prints, boot prints. It's just a big mess, big mess. Rip, you happen to notice that going past the kerfluffle, you still see a pair of rat prints. So the rat prints have walked up to the kerfluffle. The kerfluffle was happening, and then there are still rat prints walking away from it, but not a corresponding set coming back.
Okay, I would signal others that this is the way to go,
Okay.
and show them the prints.
Okay.
And take to the road.
Okay. Would anybody else like to do any deeper investigation in this area before continuing down the path again? I think Ash had said something about talking to plants.
Yes, I would like to talk to the plant.
Okay, fantastic. Let's roll that. That is using your primordial voice. So you're going to use your socialize plus your weird. The catch is making an offering to the element in the area, watering the plants, weeding the area, something. Would you like to attempt to do something like that in order to activate the catch so you don't have to spend glamour?
Yes, I will weed some of the invasive weeds that are around the area.
Nice, nice. There's definitely a lot of them. Fantastic. Okay, and then go ahead and roll me your socialize plus your weird.
I got a 7 and a 2, so I guess I failed.
Oh, okay. Well, you're so busy weeding, you don't realize you've actually pulled up some of the little starts of the plants there, and you're like, hey guys, and they're not talking to you right now. Okay, does anybody else want to do anything, use any contracts or investigation things in this area before you continue forward?
I think I want to climb up the big tree that's there because it's pretty close to it, right?
Mhm.
And so climb up to the top if I can.
Okay.
Kind of see like where Rip has indicated the tracks kind of keep going. See if I can see
Totally.
any differences or anything.
Totally fantastic. So what I would like for you to do is roll your dexterity plus your athletics to climb the tree.
2, 3, 4. And athletics is also. Wow, I had 8 die and I got 2 successes. That was awful.
But still, you still managed to climb it. And you might not have looked amazing climbing it, but you still managed to climb it. Strangely enough, so you're working your way up and you're like, yeah, I'm going to get up here. I'm going to see where everything is. I'm going to have the best view. And as you're going up, you about 8 feet or so up the tree, you come across a set of 4 claw marks that have dug like through the tree bark deep deep into the wood, and there's still, even though this tree looks like it's dead, there's still some sap, like still tacky sap, like where the tree was injured deeply. You get a little bit on your hand, and there's it it's sap, but there's also some blood there. That's about 8 feet up. The tree goes up about another 4 feet or so. It's only about 12 feet tall now. And from there you can see, you can see back the way you came for 30, 40 yards. But the paths in the hedge do tend to be kind of rambling, even when they're not actually moving. So, you can see about that much forward and about that much back, but then the path curves and can't really see directly where it goes, especially being so in a lot of the areas, the overgrowth above is almost a canopy. It's almost an umbrella over the pathways. Not enough that you couldn't like see the night sky or see the sun or that kind of thing, but it's definitely not completely clear even directly over the center of the trod.
Okay. And Rip is like 6 feet, right?
I think Rip's probably taller than that. Yeah, he's like
perfect. I'm gonna see him start trying to walk over, and I'm going to just trill or whatever it is I do, of being like, hey, wait, come here. It's almost at your eye level. I have a thing. I can kind of show him. So hopefully he can get some more information from all the smelling and the observation.
Yeah. I think the when we entered the Summer Queen's apartment, I think Jess mentioned something about 8 feet. So I think when Rip was crawling around trying to smell or track the tracks, I think he would just stand up between all the branches and see just like a radar coming up.
Yeah, I just imagine you kind of like going on your tiptoes for it.
Like, what's going on here?
Ogre and head sticking out from the canopy.
Ogre periscope.
Yeah. And maybe try to smell the claw marks and the blood, and maybe pick up maybe the same kind or the grease.
Yeah, definitely. You can smell. You can definitely smell the motor oil that that you were smelling, like on the hat. There's some sort of a thick, dirty, like not changed often lubricant, like motor oil smell, like the kind that you might use for lubricating gears or keeping an engine lubricated and that kind of thing. It's a very inorganic smell. And the claws themselves, when you look at the claw marks, you can actually see in one of them there is a fleck, just like a glint of metal. And when you look in closer at it, it's like a tiny little barbed point, like off of a fish hook or something like that, that has broken off into the wood itself as the claw mark was being made.
Is it like a print or an actual hook, or
yeah, you can pull it out. It's a piece of metal. It's probably about maybe 1/8 of an inch long. It's very, very sharp, and it's got a tiny little barb on it. And it's very definitely metal. It's not organic.
I think Sky would be very interested in the shiny thing.
Ooh, shiny.
I don't know if I have any expertise in any mechanics or metal, so I think I would show it to others.
Okay, that's super smart. Like, I found this. I don't know what it means, but
yeah, investigation is my only mental skill. Everything else.
It's where you're definitely where your speciality is.
Yeah, I think this is a very single-minded character.
So Ash, you do have a little bit of score in crafts. So you are probably the most likely to be able to investigate this a little bit deeper and try and figure out exactly what it is. Would you like to make a roll?
Here, Rip. I'll look at it.
So what you're going to want to do is roll me your intelligence plus your crafts.
I got 1 success.
Okay. The closest thing you've seen to this is a fish hook. It looks like somebody broke the tip off a fish hook into the wood, and you're not really sure exactly. Like, you're trying to figure out like how would, like, even if they had a weapon that was a fish hook, like how would it have struck these 4 attacks that look very even in depth and striking, and the weeping of the sap is very similar. It's not like one of them is more dried than the other. So yeah, it's kind of weird, kind of weird.
I do have a quick question.
Yes, of course.
If you like, I got 1, but it was a 10, and so like I did the reroll, another roll, and I didn't succeed. But with it being a 10, does that help, or is it still just 1?
It's still just 1. Yeah, it's still just 1. It just counts as a success. The only benefit is that you have a chance of continuing to get more successes with it. So, Rip, you you would recognize this smells like cat. It smells like oil. It smells like blood. Would you guys like to continue searching in this area, or do you want to follow the rat footprints that move away? Or do you want to follow, there's also some cat prints as well, and there's boot prints and other kinds of like humanoid-esque looking prints, but there are definitely kind of 2 choices here between there's the rat prints that head out as if they were continuing down the path, and then there's the tiger big cat prints.
I actually developed a theory. In the meantime, it's something Ash said while we were at the first gate, that we are all expecting the rat to be dead, but since there are tracks leading away from here, I think there is something of a truth in there. So I would like to use my if I could find from the hat a lock of hair from the rat.
Sure.
I think I would use my mind finder contract. And the catch is that I would have to have a lock of hair from the target and try to use it on the rat. Because I'm also starting to believe that he's still alive.
Wonderful. Okay, so you're going to roll your survival plus your weird. We'll go ahead and give you the catch, so you won't need to spend the glamour on it. And
can I push it somehow? Because 3 dice doesn't seem like a good roll.
Oh, okay, well, you could definitely spend a willpower to give yourself an extra die in that. Also, if your companions would like to spend their actions helping you, I guess this is really a contract, so it's not really something that they can aid you in. If you were just investigating or something, then they could basically focus their investigation to aiding you, and then they could be assistants for that. But so really can't do that with contracts. So yeah, your best way at this point to do it is to spend a point of willpower to give yourself an extra die.
Or glamour. Glamour is just for regular rolls.
You're already spending glamour oh no, you're not.
Okay.
Yes, you could. No, normally, because you would have to spend your glamour to activate the contract, you wouldn't be able to spend another glamour to boost it. But because you activated the catch, you're not actually spending glamour to activate it. So yes, you can go ahead and spend your 1 point of glamour to give yourself an extra die in that too.
Okay, I think I'll give myself an extra die with the glamour, and I think I use the power for rerolls needed.
Okay.
Oh, yep, I will need it. So I'm gonna this explosion actually. So I rolled 2 successes, so I'll reroll. The exploded new dice be rerolled. If I roll a 10 and I roll a 3, can I re-roll that new die?
The second one, yes, you can go ahead and
Okay.
re-roll the second one. I'm not certain what
Okay.
I'm not certain what the absolute canon
Okay.
call on that is, so don't
Yeah.
quote me on that. But we're going to do it for now.
4 successes with the willpower cost and splendor.
Okay, so you got 4 successes, you said?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, yeah. You definitely you're just really, using your senses to get a thing, and yeah. Kind of at about, if you're looking down the pathway where the footsteps went, down the pathway and at about a 30-degree angle to the left, you're definitely getting a feeling that this individual is there.
Okay. I think I'll tell that to all the others. That we're not chasing the corpse anymore, and it's definitely that way. So maybe I'll lead the way.
Does that sound good? Y'all gonna follow Rip?
Yes, please.
Okay, so you're going down, you're just kind of using your mind finder to check in every once in a while, because it doesn't tell you the road to take to get there, and these roads wind, but you stop when you come to a place where there's a little deer track that takes off from the trod. You stop and you're nope, I think it's continuing down the trod a little bit. And after you've gone another I don't know, just maybe 5 minutes or so, you've passed by a couple of deer tracks that you're I don't think that's the right one. You finally get to one where you're okay, the trod takes a hard right and the deer track takes a hard left, and the pinging feeling from Mindfinder is definitely coming from the left. So do you want to leave the trod and head out onto the deer track?
Definitely. I think Rip wouldn't even mind stepping away from the ordinary road, and would just would just walk through bushes or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so the little path that you go, the trod is wide enough for you to walk 2 or 3 wide on it. At this point, the deer track is definitely a single file road. So can I get your marching order? Who's going to be, just hold up a finger, first, second, third, or fourth for last? Ash is I'm in the middle. We'll wait for Sky to come back. And okay, well, we'll put Sky at the end, being so Meredith's not here right now, and we'll just not have anything bad happen to the person at the end right away, so that she doesn't get penalized for not having a choice in that. So you guys start walking off down the track. It's small enough. Meredith, Sky's in the back. Is that okay with you? Okay. Rip's leading the way, and as those of you who are behind him, he basically kind of fills up the whole hollow here, the whole tunnel that you're walking through the brambles. So it's very difficult to see past him. You kind of get the feeling as you're walking, and you will have noticed this at other times when you've been in the trod, that the brambles kind of almost feel like they're reaching out, to hold on to you, to catch onto your clothes as you go by. It's nothing that you can't just brush off and continue walking, but it's kind of a creepy feeling. In this area, even though it's pretty early in the day, it's the bramble, once you've left the trod, is thick enough that it's kind of given that dark and shadowy thing. You can still see light coming in from overhead, and little sunbeams will come through the dappling of the overgrowth, but all that does is end up being areas where it's very, very bright and areas where it's very, very shadowy. So the contrast makes it a little difficult as you're walking through. Plus, Rip's in front, so there's not a whole lot of light coming in from that direction. But you continue on the path.
I think the closer Rip would feel that he's getting, that he would become more careful and more sneaky gradually.
Sure, definitely makes sense.
Ash is definitely trying to blend into the forest.
Okay. Okay, definitely. So we've got like a little stealth trail going on. Yes, Meredith?
Would Algernon be considered a mortal?
No, he is a changeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm still gonna. I'll just spend the glamour to do it, and
Okay.
and maybe I can't do this while we're moving, so maybe it's a bad call. But I do have the Viridian Embrace, which is essentially making nature and plants come to our aid. So instead of them kind of trying to grasp at us, maybe trying to help us.
Okay.
Maybe giving us a bit more light. Is that a thing that moves with us, or is that like a set place kind of thing?
It's for the scene. So we'll go ahead and do it for, how about for as long as you guys are moving and have not yet engaged with whatever is going to, going to engage with next.
Okay.
Or you're in transport kind of thing. Okay, sure thing. So roll me your weird plus your expression.
Does that mean that the like the plants and the hedge and the brambles and whatnot can also give us a heads up if something is following us or tracking us or something?
That's a different skill, or that's a different contract. You could do that through, if Ash had been successful on her primordial voice, that would be something that where they're actually able to communicate with you. So when you're reading the contracts, it's a little confusing. So you've got your title, and then you've got kind of a general descriptor, but the actual mechanical effect is under the stats. So in this case, the actual manual effect, or the actual mechanical effect, is for each success +1 bonus to perception, movement, and stealth type rolls, and +1 speed for the scene. So even though the description is they aid you, it's not really designed for them to be like thinking allies as much as just they're kind of making it easier for you to either hide or travel or that kind of thing.
And if I spend a willpower, I can re-roll one. Is that correct?
Sure.
No successes.
No successes. Okay. Well, it's not any harder than it was, but it's not any easier either. So you guys come to a space, and Rip like holds out his arms, and because he's being very cautious at this point, you guys have traveled along this path for a little bit, and there's something, he hears something up ahead. It sounds like it's no voices, but it sounds like somebody or something is moving, just like up in the next little wide spot in the trod. And you guys have been able to follow, once you got onto this little trod, you've been able to follow little rat footprints. I mean, you're pretty sure you're on the right route because there's no tiger footprints, there's no boot footprints or other humanoid footprints on this particular track right now. You can see a couple that are like old, like weeks old, they've filled with rain and that kind of thing in the past, but the only fresh one is rat prints.
Can I try the primordial voice again?
100%, definitely. Just go ahead and give me that roll. And let me know if there's anything, if any of the rest of you would like to do any contracts or talk to each other. Please feel free to talk to each other while Ash is trying to talk to the plants.
With my contract on, I think it's Witch's Intuition, what's the range? Do I have to be like able to see the person I'm using this
line
on?
of sight.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect, thanks.
Yeah, most of the time, if it's a effect where you're sensing something about that person, you can be a long ways away, but as long as you can see them.
So I used my willpower to do another roll, and I got 1 success.
Yay! These plants feel like talking to you.
Yay!
Yay, plants!
Sent them out this time.
Okay, so there are the hedge is literally made of plants here at this point. You are surrounded by individuals that you can talk to. How would you like to talk to them? What would you like to say?
Well, hello, little guys. I'm trying to find someone Did you happen to see a large black mouthy guy go this way?
Yes.
Oh, was anybody else with him or following him?
No.
What was he doing?
What do all of you do? Walking? I think that's all you do.
Was he hurt?
Hurt.
Hurt? Was he leaking?
His sap was coming out, yes.
Do you know where he went? Where he stopped? Where he is?
He went past me. But that was before the sun came up.
Is he still nearby?
I hear something. I don't know if it's him, but I hear something.
Which way do you hear something?
It kind of rustles a little bit, and there's a little tendril that kind of flicks in the direction further down the trod, or down the deer path. This area is so tight, like you're literally like in less than a hallway, in terms of the deer track that you're walking on. So it's very reasonable that they wouldn't, like, nobody's camped right here because it's only about 5 feet tall. So probably the only thing this thing has experienced is people that are coming and going.
Nobody else is that way?
I have not heard anyone. I did not see anyone come through. You are the only ones who've been on this path other than him.
Okay, thank you. Guys, anything else I should ask him? I don't know what else to ask.
Are there any plant friends up ahead that might have further information?
You could ask them.
And what are their names?
He makes noises that sound like two branches rubbing together in a storm. And then he makes noise that sounds like wind rustling through tall grass. And then he makes a sound that sounds like a branch snapping. It's a very startling, like, they are beyond.
Thank you.
Will I have to do another attempt at this if we're moving further up?
I don't think so. It says, let's see, what does this one say? Last round, can ask about anything that occurred in that area, as long as you're not going too far out of this area, because the hedge is so bramble heavy. I would say you're probably fine. I'll let you know if you've progressed far enough to need to ask again. Okay.
Okay.
Or to need to roll again in order to ask again.
Okay. So I think maybe we should keep asking our plant friends as we're moving forward.
Rip, you hear another rustling up ahead. It's maybe 20, 30 feet ahead, but you can't really see it because the road makes a curve again.
I feel like we should move forward, and I'm fine to take the lead with that one, and like hop along, and do it quietly, but kind of try to just see what it is, because maybe it's the rat or maybe it's something else entirely.
Do you want to try and like stealth up there to kind of get a perspective?
Sure. I'm not quite sure what my stealth is, so yeah, I could try it.
Okay, so let's see.
Yeah,
you are going to want to dexterity plus stealth.
Be a terrible roll.
And then let's see. Just
I could help
so.
Guy.
I think since Reap is an expert on stealth, maybe he could give pointers or maybe show the optimal way of approaching.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. If you want to roll your Dex plus Stealth, if you get a success, I'll let you throw it on as a success onto Skies.
7 successes.
Yeah, I got one. You can add that one.
So you got 8, just to make sure, just to hedge your bets.
I did spend a willpower to reroll.
So basically just kind of like, how sometimes you'll be walking through the woods and you won't see or hear a bird until you've startled it, and then it just like appears out of nowhere. That's kind of what Sky does, except in reverse. Like, she's there and she's like, yeah, I think I should go ahead and I should check this out. And, and then all of a sudden she's just like, poof. And I mean, she's not invisible per se. If you look really hard, you guys know where she was, but yeah, she's really, really, really hidden. So yeah, you're gonna move up to where you can see something. You so the road curves around a little bit to this way, and there's like a kind of a half dead log that's kind of like resting up that the road curves around. It's obvious this is why the path has gone around it, because there was a big tree here. And as you're approaching and you're sneaking up and you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna peek around this tree, right? And as you're peeking around this tree, all of a sudden you realize that there is something else peeking around the tree, like, and you guys both are like, and both jump back at the same time. There is a very loud, like, shriek, squeal, and scrambling sound, as if something trying to backpedal. It is obviously like fallen down out of surprise and trying to like scramble to its feet.
Nice. Is it Eldron?
It looks like a very rat-faced humanoid. Yep.
Okay. Hi.
Wait, no. Okay, no, you can't tell her I'm here. You can't tell her I'm here. Okay, like, I'll give you anything. I bet you want something. I'll find something. I mean, you get nice feathers. I'll get you some bird seed, something. You got it. You can't tell her. I can't do this anymore. I can't.
I have something I want to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want to use my vision of strife.
Okay.
To gain a vision of the most traumatic thing they've experienced. The catch says they're currently speaking about their past. And I would like this maybe a little bit of a stretch, but when he said, I can't do this anymore, he's probably thinking about all the things that he doesn't want to do anymore. So I'd like to, will that work for the catch?
Let's, target is currently speaking about their past. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can't do this anymore is definitely talking about the past. So yeah, definitely use the catch, activate that puppy, and go ahead and roll me your weird plus your empathy.
Let's see here. Weird is 1 empathy.
Now you guys, you would know, as someone who has this skill, that by far and away the most common thing that comes up when you use the skill on another changeling is some aspect of their durance, because for almost every single changeling, that has been the absolute most tragic thing that they have encountered, and most traumatic thing that they've encountered. But there are always exceptions.
I got 1 success.
1 success. Okay. Yeah, no, this what you get is just this constant state of being of wariness, like being constantly thrust into danger. And it's not like any one particular thing, it's just this building and building and building. And it overshadows whatever they went through in their durance. And that is really notable for for having used it on a changeling.
I think.
Or go ahead.
No, you finish. Sorry, go ahead.
Do we get any flashes of it being at all connected to the, I forget her name, the Summer Queen?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah, it's just constantly her visage being very angry and very, no, you will do this, is like a constant evil sun in the background of all of these things.
Okay.
Real quick before we go on to Sky and Algernon interacting again, Ash or Rip, is there anything you want to do when you have heard Sky and some other thing shriek and that kind of response?
I quickly jump behind Rip and I'm just kind of peeking around him to see what's going on without trying not to be seen.
Safest seat in the house.
but I'll follow along if Rip moves forward.
Okay. Rip, how about you? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I think Rip is kind of. I'm kind of reviewing my character background right now, and there is a lot of connections to that one. I think he's contemplating what to do with the situation that is all too familiar for him because he has been a kind of a taskmaster for his keeper.
Okay. Well, then we will go ahead now that Gray has had a chance to do something. Sky, will come back to you. How do you want to respond next?
So I think Sky, seeing as like they pretty much had the same job just for different masters, different kind of kikus, she clocks this pretty quickly as that's what this is. And so I think the first thing she wants to do is kind of like calm him down a little bit, or just like reassure him. And then at the same time, kind of thinking back to the exact wordage of what was asked of them, which I believe was just to find out if anybody was tracking or hunting any of her people, or if there was a predator in the hedge, right? Not necessarily to bring Algernon back.
Right, to find out what had attacked him and deal with it.
Perfect. So that's how I'm going to kind of help him.
Okay.
No. You don't understand. She didn't ask us to bring you back. That wasn't what was asked. And you know, as well as all of us, that when Faye says things,
she knows I'm here.
No, she thinks you're dead. Congratulations, you're out. Have you considered the Winter Court?
I
get a recruiting bonus.
It worked.
I'm a spring court, not a winter.
it worked. And you're not going to tell on me?
No.
You're not going to rat me out?
No. Here's the thing. We're all very careful about the words we use. Our words are literally our bond. And we promised to find out what attacked you and deal with it. Period. That was it. Nothing about bringing you back. Nothing about you even being alive.
It was the tiger. It was the oops, sorry, I buried it under you guys' character sheets. There we go. It was the mechanical tiger, the animaculate. It came out of nowhere, but I was able to get away.
Okay. Do you need help? Do you need healing? Can we help you somehow?
Oh, no, I just want to go. I just want to not be here anymore. I just don't want to serve her anymore. I can't. I thought it was the best way. You know, you get in with the strong, the big ones. So he looks at Rip. You get in with the strong and the big ones and you can hide behind them. But she just didn't seem to understand that this isn't who I am, and I can't do it anymore.
I think we've all been lured in by the myth of the mouse and the lion, where the mouse takes the thorn out of the lion's paw and they're best friends and they protect each other, and it doesn't actually work that way in the real world a lot of times. So I understand. Run away. Go find something else that you're happy about and passionate about, and or go hide. You can talk to Ash about the Winter Court. I'm sure she'd be happy to help you. And or if you want to, follow your passions and your emotions and stuff, I can tell you about the Spring Court. Summer Court does not seem like it you get. Just saying.
It was not the best fit for me, but she wouldn't let me quit. She said if there was only one way out, with my shield or on it, and I don't want no surviving first and foremost. That's what we do. But I can't.
Anyone in our world thinking so binary as one way out, that's so silly to me. There's so many ways. You and I both know we've been working with politicians for so long. You twist the words, you find the exact meaning, and you go to the letter of it. Can you just tell us where the thing went so we can fill our thing to the letter of the law?
Oh, I lured it into that trap. There was a big hole, like I don't know what made it, some cave or something, but when I realized that I wasn't going to be able to fight it and it wasn't going to let me go, I put some branches over it, and then it wasn't really bright, it wasn't really smart, and I just lured it over there, so it's probably still down in the bottom of it. I mean, if it's still alive.
Nice work. And she's gonna give him like a wing five or a like high five with some like feathers on her hand.
I can really go? You won't tell?
As far as I'm concerned, I don't think anyone else here would stop you, but I could be wrong. Anyone else?
I can truthfully say I did not find a single trace of you. I also didn't look.
Algernon looks up at Rip and slowly starts backing away, like, okay, is he gonna follow me if I go down the path?
I think Rip kind of seems to follow him, but he just steps forward to give him the remains of his hat.
Like, thank you. And you like blink, and there is nothing more left of Algernon than a rustling in the bushes. He has taken off. He has not gone down the deer track that continues out of this little clearing. He did not go past you. He dove into the brambles and is attempting to forge his way through the brambles, which you guys would know is literally an act of desperation for a lost. That's the most dangerous path that you can take in the brambles, is going through the brambles. But he's gone in just a heartbeat. There is not even the only thing that's left of him is just like a tiny little leaf that's still flickering a little bit where he darted out.
Ash, it's times like this I really wish you had cards for the winter court so you could give him a card.
Or that would be helpful for lost souls like me.
So because we are over our time period, if you guys follow the direction that he pointed, you will find a deep hole. Looks like it might have been a well at some point, or some sort of like a Wolverine cat hole or something like that. Definitely deep, and in the bottom of it is a very, very dead, what looks like a clockwork tiger. Its front arms, like its body is still a tiger body, but like its front arms are all gears and pulleys and mechanisms, and sure enough, its claws are like these long barbed fish hooks. Its tail is made out of a thick braiding of cable, and its eyes look like they filter, or they spiral in and out like camera shutters. And it's very dead. It looks like it probably had a couple of like cuts and bruises and things like that, but then it just landed wrong and its neck snapped and it's just laying down there dead.
Convenient.
Do we want to haul it back? Does anyone want to haul it back with us? Do we have a bag for that?
Do we have a bag for that?
That's a little more heavy lifting than I think I signed up for, and they did not technically ask for that, so she did say we could just point them in the right direction.
What if we took a piece back for proof? So we need our reward.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If nothing else, I was hoping the bigger the piece we brought back, the bigger the reward.
How about the paw?
Yeah.
Because I mean, the paw gashed the tree,
Very clever.
and we could maybe
very
show
clever.
the little fish hook that broke off. So,
Very, very clever. And
ooh,
Gray,
and I have a medical background.
with a specialty in surgery and a focus on fey parts. So, yeah, definitely. So, you guys can obviously find vines and that kind of thing. You're surrounded by them, that you can use to easily get down into the bottom of this pit. Gray never travels without his surgical equipment, so he's got scalpel and that sort of thing to remove this. It's actually a far less gory removal than you would anticipate, because the front paws are all clockwork. So you get hydraulic fluid all over, but like no blood or anything like that. And you're able to recover a paw to use as evidence without any real difficulty. Is there anything else that you want to do before going back to the queen for your reward? I'm going to say no then. Okay. So you guys make your way back. You've recovered the paw. You head back. You wave at folks as you go through the goblin market. You head back, head out of the gateway in the park. As you're walking down the street, there's a little boy who's walking with his mom, and he's like, looks at the paw, and he's like, "Mom, look, a treat." You just smile and keep walking. The queen is. Say that one more time, honey.
I'm gonna correct me. Like, no. It's called steampunk.
Steampunk. it's like goth but brown. So you get back to the queen's office. You're let in. She's very surprised and very pleased that you've managed to accomplish this quickly. So this is what killed Algernon.
This
Yeah.
appears to have attacked him. We found it at the bottom of a well. You must be right about putting a rat in a corner. You don't want to scuffle with them.
I knew. Algernon always said that he wasn't the bravest or the smartest, which is probably true. But I always knew he had it in him to do what needed to be done to accomplish things. He will be mourned as a hero. And this thing will no longer trouble our freehold. I am grateful for your assistance.
Here you
Yes,
go.
you could put it on the table. Thank you, dear.
I just kind of drop it with a clink.
Clink, clink, clink. I recognize that you have completed our agreed upon pledge. I owe upon you each a major boon. If there is anything that I can do to serve you, you have but to ask. I am grateful for your service to this freehold. Would you like to redeem your favors now, or would you like to call them in at some point in the future?
I'd like to call mine in the future time.
I prefer a well thought out favor.
Wise little bird. And she looks at Ash and she looks at Rip. Now?
I already said later.
Oh, later? Okay.
I think I want to call mine in later. I want time to consider it.
That is very good tactics. I'm surprised to see such broad and in agreement tactics from those who are not of my court, but game recognizes game. So thank you very much for your assistance, and I will be very, very grateful to hear what your favors are in the future. And with that, you can feel the weird that locked your pledges in to each other kind of shift to a little bit different feel, and you kind of just get the feeling now that the weird recognizes that this person owes you one, which is really handy, because that way if she tries to renege in the future, there'll be some ramifications for it. You guys did a really great job. That was really, really fun. Thank you guys so much for buying in. I know it can be really hard with characters that you haven't played in the past before, but you guys, I love how you all leapt into it and really, really embodied your characters for this couple of hours. Are there any questions or clarifications or anything like that that I can give you guys before we kind of just wrap things up? Nope, you're all doing okay. Fantastic. Well, I'm always available on the Discord channel. I'm Jess at jesshartley.com if you ever need my email. I'm Jess Hartley on Twitter and Facebook and that kind of thing too. If you ever in the future have any questions about Changeling or World of Darkness games or giggity, or tabletop role playing or anything like that, please feel free. My door is open to you guys. Thank you guys very much for making this a fun session. We'll see you guys next time, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
Bye.